I'm at Cecilia Forest in the Western Cape of South Africa, and we had a few days of rain. It was earlier this week, and I decided to come and shoot some waterfalls. And what I'm going to be discussing today is using different focal lengths in shooting waterfalls, and if it's better to go wider, or if it's better to go tighter, and when is it better to use a different focal length for shooting waterfalls. Often what you'll see when shooting a waterfall is that you're limited to where you can stand. There might be a deep basin of water at the base of the waterfall, which means you can't get that close to the actual drop-off. The waterfall itself might be very large and you have to shoot from further away to avoid spray on your lens. Or because you're on the edge of a gorge, as here in Cecilia, you can't actually move too far away from the waterfall, otherwise you are going off the edge of the gorge face. So we are limited by the focal lengths, and that's why it's important to learn how to shoot waterfalls at all different focal lengths, because you don't know what you're going to get when you get to the waterfall. So I'm doing the wide angle shot, the ultra wide. This is from about 14 to 16 mils, and I'm quite far away from the waterfall. I'm using these leading lines of the logs for my foreground to go in, and something you'll notice about my camera is it's in portrait mode. What's really nice when we shoot these ultra wide angles for the waterfalls to get nice perspective running up the waterfall is to shoot in portrait as opposed to landscape, unless the foreground is nice for a landscape. But most of the time I find for these wide angle waterfall shots, shooting in portrait is the way to go. The next thing you want to do is you want to shoot bracketed. When you're shooting ultra wide, it's very difficult to contain your dynamic range. So you're going to get bits of light coming in from different areas. You're going to have very dark areas in your shadows. So you want to shoot a bracketed range so you can pull out all that dynamic range out of your photo. And then lastly, when you're shooting ultra wide and on all your different perspectives, is you want to use a polarizer. So you want to have a polarizer on when shooting the waterfalls. And for these shots, I also have a 3-stop ND filter on. And that's so I can do a waterfall of about between 1 and 3 seconds, just to smooth out a little bit of that water motion. The tighter focal lengths, I've come a bit closer to the waterfall. I'm shooting at 24 mils, and for these tighter shots you want to start thinking a little bit more around the idea of more intimate landscapes. You might not necessarily have the whole waterfall in your photo, you might just have parts of it or elements. So in this shot, what I've done on my right is I've just got this bottom half of the waterfall, and I've got these branches coming in all around from different angles, and this makes a really nice little intimate landscape and enhances all the greenery, the flow of the water, and all the lines. So when you start coming in for a tighter focal length, start looking at isolating different elements, and this will be, don't focus on trying to get the whole waterfall in, just focus on particular areas, a fern, a branch with a bit of the water motion, and you'll get these nice little scenes and compositions that complement the broader scene. Okay, I've just taken a little hike up in the back end of Kylemore, up into Barnes Hook Conservancy, chasing some waterfalls, looking for some new compositions, and found quite a few of these little waterfalls cascading down in multiple steps. So to carry on talking about using different focal lengths for shooting waterfalls, these scenes are really nice at wide angle, but can be very cluttered and very busy with all the trees around. However, shooting this at about 50 mils or 40 mils can really focus in on the waterfall, make a small waterfall appear bigger, and also give you all those layers and depths into the waterfall. So I'll be showing you examples of shooting at a range between about 30 and 50 mils to get some nice compositions for the waterfalls.